Hey, so this is going to be a quick Q&A. I have, well, I say quick, but none of these are ever quick. I have some questions here that I pulled out of the group, and they're all kind of very closely related. So I think we can just talk about them all together. Steve asks, um, oh yeah, so there's 30 people in the group now, which is awesome. We were kind of floating on the bridge of like almost 30, and I kicked some people out and whatnot. So great, thank you very much, and I look forward to hearing everyone's feedback. If you're one of those people who watch and don't comment or like or any of that stuff, it's not a vanity thing. I just want feedback and I want interaction so that when this group goes live, uh, you know, people are coming to something that's alive. Okay, so you're gonna get the boot. Okay, so Steve asks, watching my movies, it's clear that I have a lot of images, and in some cases they look as interesting as my limited edition pieces. How do you decide which pieces are your A roll and which ones are your B roll? Further, how do you decide which pieces you're going to print and which pieces are just going to remain available in my catalog collection? And then um, uh, this seems like a hit or miss task. I really like Survivor. In my last video, I showed a piece that is not selling. I have sold it, but it's not selling at art shows. So he's asking about why that piece isn't selling and what I should do to change it. Okay. TJ is also asking which images should I invest in because at least in my printing, because I buy the high-end frames and all that stuff to have a very strong presentation and presence. Um, you know, how do I make that choice? Okay. And then Adam, um, similar question, but he's having a block about having his work feel like it's polished enough to present in the art shows and to present to people as here you can buy this. This is what I feel like is something that's really strong. Okay. Um, and he asked me about mediums and things like that. Okay. So A roll versus B roll. So let's take a look at my limited, not my limited edition, but um, this is my B and C roll. Okay, this is my licensing images that I have sold to licensing companies, and this is different than stock. This is stock images. You put them out there, and people buy them for small uses, um, and it's 5 cents a piece. Limited, not limited, but licensed pieces go to a company that licenses them for much broader use and or not as broad, but more specific use, and usually make a bit more money in licensing. It's a bit more competitive in terms of the quality of images that you'll find in licensing, but there's not the massive thousands of images that you'll find in stock photography. Okay, so how did I choose these to be my B-roll versus my A-roll? Okay, well, a lot of these are very, very similar to the picture that I have in my portfolio. Okay, I'm gonna just start this. I'm gonna grab this thing. Okay, so here's my catalog. Um, let's see. So some of these are just things that I consider pictures. For instance, this is just a picture of the coast, and it's really not even very good. Um, but I edited it. I use it for social media, um, and this is just something that I wouldn't try to sell. There's nothing really interesting about this image, but perhaps there's a chance someone might license it. There's lots of room for copy to be written, um, text, and things like that. So let it go. This green wave from Hawaii, I actually have this image in my catalog. If you haven't seen my catalog, you can actually remind me and I'll post a link. This is something I made myself, and it's a really nice sales tool. So there's a digital version that you can check out. So 52, page 50, Cinco Deuce. Okay, it's one of these. And I'm showing you this for a reason, of course. Hello. Okay, so this I can't actually see what I'm shooting right now, but this is the image that is in my catalog, and that's the image on the screen that is, okay? They have different crops, and you can do that. I mean, it's perfectly legit. This is a really great image. People like it a lot. It looks great. It's very simple, but has a directional flow for your eyes and things like that. But this taller version of it, I didn't think was good for print. I wanted a panoramic, and there's some color differences that maybe you can't see, but I know that in print, this one is a little more clear and a bit more vibrant and sharper. And there's some different edits on the wave to make it look a little better. Whereas this one is pretty much what I got after my initial edit. Okay. Um, put that on silent. Okay, so let's get rid of that. This is image. I mean, these are just. I've said it before in my videos, and there's a difference between cool pictures and pictures that look great on walls. Okay, this is one of those. One of my really early pictures. Very popular at the time. I don't know how good it'll do now, but it's cool. Okay, there's lots going on here. There's this huge empty space which does nothing for someone's interior design, and it has this mustache um, curvature from the lens that I didn't take off. So this is just a regular image. You really have to take a look at your work and decide what's a good picture and what's something that looks really good on the wall. Okay, this is an HDR. I don't shoot HDR anymore, and the colors, the yellow. It's got a good line, room for copy, so I licensed it. Decent setup, but there's a finished version of this scene that's actually much more purple and blue that I kept, and then I just let this one go to licensing. Okay, it's not a bad photograph. It's just there's no monetary value in it for me, so I don't sell it, or I don't try to sell it myself. I just license it. Okay. This, if you guys are watching, this was the image that was picked up by TJ Maxx. That someone had actually called me about wanting a limited edition, and then not wanting a bigger piece, and then not realizing that it wasn't going to cost her $50. So this one, I think I might actually put in my catalog and just have to kind of bite the bullet on, yes, it's been licensed out, but I like it. Here's another one. Cool picture, but no sale application, and things just like that. Okay, these pictures from the Philippines, I just don't imagine selling them. This is like a tourist image that maybe someone would buy because they were there, and they were like, yeah, but one of the things I am trying to do is get out of regional art, because regional art you can only sell to people who have been there and want something from there, and I want something that people can feel like calls to them, but isn't attached to a specific place. Okay, so and then we went over some of these before. Like, this is not something I would sell. Um, Same with this one. It's just missing stuff up here. It's boring. So I actually replaced the sky and put it in my actual finished work. Okay. I don't know what else to say about this. You just have to internalize what can go to wall and what can't. This is a good example of an image that looks okay, but blown up. These are all blown out spaces. Right here, this white. This is pure white, paper white, whatever you want. And I want to reshoot this because I shot this at the wrong time of day or the wrong cloud cover, and I don't think this one's good enough to go in the catalog. Okay. And then you have a lot of these squares. These pictures, it's not sellable, not artwork for walls. This actually shouldn't be in here, but here you guys have seen my tree of fire and my event of sorrow. These are the same pictures or same tree, but shot from a different angle. It's just not as pleasing as the one that's on my wall here, or this one that's much more symmetrical and much more laid out. My tree of fire picture, this one is completely different coloring. actually shot from a different angle, and I'm just not into it. So I don't think this is a good enough shot, at least this edit. So it's a completely different photo. Same one, same. Okay, so that's how I choose my B-roll. I just don't think the ones that are good enough. And then there's pictures like this, which, oops, what is that? Which are just not selling for me right now, and I just licensed it out just to see if it could make me any money. Okay, just made that choice. Um, I'm not saying it's a crapshoot, but what I'm saying is you have to decide what's working and what's not, and what you can do with what's not working. Okay. Actually, I think I put this one in here because it was requested by Jack Appleman, who's the CEO of Art Licensing Company, and he's like, "Yeah, we have a buyer for this, and we want to show it to him. So can you submit it to us?" So I broadened out the original crop. The actual piece is a little bit more tight, and I sent them this. Some things aren't straight here, like this is curved. The distortion is up there, so I just said, "Here, you can take this one, in this version. Something's different about it." Okay. Okay, so where were we? That was a little bit of rambling. Okay, how do I decide which pieces to invest in to print? Okay, because I don't know if you guys know, but some of these things are pretty expensive to produce. I'll take you on a little tour, um, give you an idea of what cost looks like. So this piece was featured in National Geographic online anyway, and it was featured on the Weather Channel and things like that. Huge popularity. I didn't really think about as this picture as something I would print on the wall, but then I started kind of looking at things that work in homes and walls, and there was circles and warm and cool colors and depth, but I think it was the circles that did it for me for this one. And then oh, we were talking about cost. This one is 1,600 to print. It's 72 inches. And then this one is a 60 inch in the frame. The frame itself is about $700. The print is like 300. Well, yeah. Okay, we'll leave that price like that because it depends on how you buy it or where you buy it from. Carrying my computer around. This is like a $700 print, but I think, and I'll tell you why I picked that one. And I picked Survivor for its color and for its kind of striking and its story, because I am showing them here in the Pacific Northwest. They write these two. This is like $1,500 or $1,600 to print. Similar price. I think that was like 800. Okay, so how did I make those choices to print those pieces? Uh, well, and this kind of bridges to Adam Lewis and what he's asking about polish. And one of the things I want to do for the group is create this video about finding your voice and deciding which pictures are statements and which pictures are good stories. Okay, so my catalog has a bunch of artwork in it or pictures in it, and this is a good picture, tourist image. Um, it's not a statement piece. It doesn't say anything about the images I try to create as a photographer. Even though I know that, at least while I was in Hawaii, this piece would show really well, I would never do a show focused on this piece because it doesn't call to me as a strong image that represents who I am. And figuring out who you are is really the key to making people see you from photographer to artist. You start creating specific types of work. Like this piece behind me on the wall there is a picture of a wave. Yeah, so what? Long exposure. But if there wasn't a glare on it and you took a longer look, you would see that there's actually a giant bird in the picture made out of the light that I kind of painted in that wraps around the wave. And then the red picture that was on the wall that I mentioned a bit ago, that is actually a wave too. and in the wave is a woman's shape. Page 93. You know what? Maybe I'll just stick it in there. So that's a red wave shot in front of the Seattle Ferris wheel, but in the wave is the shape of a woman. And one of the veins in my photography and the way I explain it to people is that I look for personifications of nature, and I want um, to capture those or to feature those in my work. So when I had this image and this one, um, and they showed that animal, or in this case the woman, that represents me and the type of work I look for and the type of work that actually makes it to my catalog, and that's how I chose to show it in to invest in it and show it as an art show. Um, so that's one thing. And then over here, there is this piece called Concordia. And the other kind of vein in my work is that I want to create pictures that have this feeling of comfortable isolation. So if you look at my work in chronological order, I focus more and more on this very, you have one thing to look at in an image, one focal point, and everything else is soft. Okay, that's my Lonely Boat series. It's pictures like this. It's the picture adrift. And these are the pictures that I'm going to show from now on. The picture on the floor behind her, the sun, uh, same concept of single focal point, and it's more abstract. And I guess one of the reasons I pick some of these pictures is I really want to separate myself from everyone else who's showing pictures of an art show. Okay, I'm going to show Tree of Fire, and I'm going to show this tree um, in the next art show, and I know that there's going to be dozens of booths of photographers showing that one tree in Portland, and all those pictures are going to look the same. So when I went out and shot this tree, I was looking for a tone in the tree that I could turn to bold, bold red. That's on purpose. It didn't happen by chance. My first time that I went out and shot it, I couldn't turn the color of the leaves to red. It ended up being like a very pink picture. And I almost gave up, but I went back and I bought a medium format and I had more tonality, more tonal range in the colors, and then I was able to just really make it red. And this picture will stand out. So I chose that one. The wave stands out. This blue one stands out from what everyone else is going to show. Okay? If anyone in this group takes their picture of that Portland tree in the one that everyone shoots, or Peter Lake and whoever the fuck else, takes it to an art show after being in this group, and there's nothing absolutely spectacular about your particular image, I'm gonna kick you out because it's just a regular picture, and it's a very common picture, and you need to pick pieces from your catalog, from your collection of images that stand out. All right. As far as adding polish to your pictures till they feel perfect, you need to focus on these things that call out to you as a photographer, okay, as an artist. So I mentioned this before, and I'm sorry for skirting around this topic because it's a whole topic of its own. But when I walk into an art gallery, I'm called to a specific type of image every time. I'm talking about paintings. I'm talking about going to the Seattle Art Gallery or the Met or the Guggenheim or something. I'm always drawn to the same thing. So that's what I strive to create, and that's what I figured out strikes me in a way that I can articulate, both verbally and in visually. And those are the images that I want to show. Okay, those are the images that don't look like everyone else's photos. Yeah. How long have I gone so far? Okay, so if you want to take what you have existing in your catalog to show at your next art show, because maybe you haven't thought this through as much as I have right now, but you still want to do your next art show, here's what I think works the best. Okay, maybe this is where I should have gone to. You need to have images that are either completely filled with content, like my trees, okay? Detail from beginning to end, okay? And, it's got to have color and shape, and it's got to have some sort of visual way for your eye to go around, but the image is full of content. Or you want to take an image that is completely void of content. Okay, and then um, so it's soft and has a single focal point. Anything in between doesn't move as well. Okay, Jennifer in the group sold her black and white tree. That maybe you can post that in the group, and the whole image is full of that tree. Okay, um, and then like pictures like these, I'll post there's solitude, com- completely the comfortable isolation feeling that I was talking about, or a tree or a drift. Okay, so that's what I would do if I were you. As far as polish, and excuse me, Adam, you need to analyze your voice and analyze the type of image you want to create. And when you start creating only what you want to create, these images will start to feel finished for you. Okay, and that will get you to where you want to go. Cody, my website. Oh, polish. This before we go to polish, I brought this up for you guys. Um, let's go to my let's go to my photo drive and photo drive tutorials. Take a look at this. This is all the tutorials that I have purchased since I began, and I saved them. Everything from boudoir retouching to Eric Almas, who's an idol for me, I guess. Mastering camera raw, you really got to master the tools you work with. All these Flern pros, I found things in these images or these tutorials that they're not about landscape photography, but I'm learning about the tools and the ways they can be used, and then I can, take that amalgamation of content and then apply it. I don't know how many times I've applied a portrait editing technique to a landscape to get to where I wanted to go. These 5-day deals, they're pretty all right. There's some stuff in there that you can get. And yeah, so sharpening, Mark Metternich, I learned a lot from him. Go to the people who you think are really good photographers, and then buy their, support them, but also learn from them if they're offering this type of content. Okay. Website. So when it comes to my website, how do you recommend optimize it for the best experience? I don't know what the best experience is. Okay, my website changes a little bit. This is my website as it is right now, and it is optimized to answer the questions that I am trying to get to people through to people while I'm talking to them. Okay, so simple stuff. Okay, home should feature a bunch of your work, but you got to remember that you are selling images. So if you only have pictures of your pictures, like this, then people are just here looking at pretty pictures. But you want to remind them that they're there to buy something. Okay, so I mix those in there. All right, and then I chose some of my better well known. Like this was in National Geographic. Um, you know, uh, this was the gallery in Caesars in Vegas. Okay, Monochrome Awards. So I picked some things that are kind of more noteworthy. Um, Optimizing my website. People are only going to barely glance at your About You section. Okay, so what are the important things that people seems to stand out? I'm a veteran, okay, and an artist. That's really what people care about. And I explain my comfortable isolation and the personification of nature things here. But equally as big is awards and publications, and and people aren't going to look through these, but they're going to look at how long this list is and generate some sort of feeling about you. And at the end of every page is a way to contact me. Okay, you should have that available to everyone everywhere. So if you go to my landscapes, this is pretty much a standard layout for however you want to show your images. If we click on this one, what do I want everyone to know when they're looking at my website? One, that it's for sale. So here are pictures of what it looks like in your home, because this is what I want you to do, to eventually visualize. Okay, edition, and then these are the ways that I think you could buy it. Okay, but and then at the end, contact me. Okay, request a quote. Okay, um, you can go to Amazon and buy prints of things. Okay, so I don't really like putting price lists and buy it now buttons on my website. If you go to any major artist, okay, they don't have that. They have a contact me or contact my art consultant or something like that. Um, for prints. One, there's just so many options for buying one of these landscapes. You know, like this piece goes from 40 inches to 96 inches, and um, on this substrate, and this frame, this hanging, whatever, uh, someone wants it, they're going to ask about it. Okay, and then you want to get them to ask about it so that you can really nail down the stuff. And this is like this for every one of my pictures: photo, story, short story, um, examples in home, examples with frames. Okay, um, all the way across, and then descriptions of my frames, how to collect. This used to say limited editions, but I think you have to be more literal with the the buy now kind of idea. But you want to get away from the idea that they're just buying something; they're collecting art. Okay, and more examples. So this is how I optimized it. I had websites that were probably like more focused on the pictures. I chose to focus on the selling aspect without putting price tags and lists and everything. Okay, so I think that answers your question. But what plan are you using? I bought the bottom line plan because I don't have a selling function on this website. Um, that's the advice for setting up in general. Okay. Okay. So I think that answers your guys' questions, and I hope that was useful in a conversational way. I know I kind of ramble a little bit. Um, yeah, that's all I got. So Jennifer, if you watch this, post your picture in there and tell us why you think that picture sold as much as it did. I think you sold 5 of them, or you had 5 inquiries, or something like that. And cheers. Okay, I look forward to continue providing a service for everyone.